Hello everyone, and welcome to another audio and podcast series under the Storm Robotics production. This is a Shientist chartered edition and sort of a follow-up from the previous audio podcast series, the Buster Cap episode, also in line with the a Shientist chartered edition. This is an audio podcast series around the Pathology Storm, and once again, this is the Shientist, and I'm going to be talking to you about an overview relating to a peer review manuscript that was an invited peer review sort of publication to put forward sort of a perspective on a review of pathology and analysis of approaches to easing kidney disease impact and host pathogen communication and biomedical visualization perspective. Part of this perspective has been provided in some regard in a previous audio podcast series. However, I thought to take the opportunity to provide an audio podcast on the whole peer review manuscript and the publication by providing an audio podcast on the individual sections of this particular work. So to do that, I thought I'd provide an overview initially of what I will be talking about or highlighting in this audio podcast podcast series around the pathology storm. So to begin with, I'm going to be talking about discovery of coronaviruses. Then I'll be talking about the biomedical classification around them. Then I'll be talking about the renal health and COVID-19 correlation. Then I'll be talking about the biomedical visualization around them. Then I'll be talking about the understanding renin-angiotensin, understanding renin-angiotensin, aldosterone or RAS pathway and role of angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptors during COVID-19, and also then the immunobiology and the complement system, the organ crosstalk and biomedical communication, and current treatments and COVID-19 reduction of accessibility of SARS-CoV-2 and angioconverting enzyme 2 receptors, antivirals on COVID-19, and then anti-inflammatory agents on COVID-19 recipients. And then finally, the final audio podcast in this series will be will highlight some conclusion and some summaries, and I'll provide an overview of the works in an abstract format as well. And once again, this work is in collaboration with the Renal Patient Support Group, the RPSG, and the full works can be approached through the RPSG. If anyone wanted to find out more, then you can find out through the Renal Patient Support Group or the RPSG around this works in full. So to begin with, I'm going to provide a sort of an introduction to this works. So since December 2019, the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 or SARS-CoV-2 is spread worldwide, causing COVID-19 to be problematic and implicating health risks across the globe. The coronaviruses can affect multiple organs in humans, including kidneys, increasing the mortality, especially in those who are known to be immunosuppressed and or immunocompromised. Moreover, the lack of treatment forces the biomedical and pharmaceutical industries to approach suspect and high-risk COVID-19 sufferers. There is a lack of effective treatment of for SARS-CoV and the more recent SARS-CoV-2, and so a more indirect approach should be considered to lower the probable risk and onset of disease amongst the immunocompromised and immunosuppressed individuals and patients. So the research surrounding COVID-19 has been progressive. It is important to reduce disease mortality at the epidemiological and at population level. However, the understanding of the structure and pathology of coronaviruses, especially surrounding the host-pathogen communications and how host-pathogen communication and that interplay inside and aligned to the visualization that in literature still requires some understanding and some insight, and so some aims and objectives of this works and this collaboration. So this chapter seek to investigate the causes and potential mechanisms of severe acute respiratory syndrome or SARS infection CoV-2, the renal interaction, and the effects of acute kidney injury or AKI. And the chapter also provides a review really of the pathology and analyses of approaches to easing a kidney disease impact by exploring the host pathogen communication, providing a biomedical visualization perspective, and highlighting the principles of angiotensin converting enzyme 2 or ACE2 in context of immunology and infection to understand the impact on kidney disease. So in the next audio podcast, I'm going to be talking about or highlighting the start of the context around biomedical classification in context to this particular review of pathology and analyses of approaches to easing kidney disease impact and host pathogen communication, and the biomedical visualization perspective, this peer review publication. So this ends the introductory aspect of this audio podcast, and hopefully the next one would be a follow-up to look out for. Thank you for joining me on this particular audio podcast. I've been your host, the Shientist, and it's in the series the Pathology Storm. It's the part of the Shientist edition, the Shientist Chartered edition, and this is a Storm Robotics production outlining an introduction on the discovery of coronaviruses. Thank you for listening in.